What's up, 12s? It's Love the Tuba with the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
This is Walter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on the, what is it, Thursday after the last regular season game of the Seattle Seahawks. The end of the 2021 Seahawks season, as we know it, has come to a close, which means it's speculation time. It's analyze and look at what's going to happen now. Who's gone? Who's staying? Who's going to be fired? Who's going to be hired? Who's staying and not going anywhere, and all kinds of stuff. We've heard it all. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about the potential of a full rebuild, blowing the whole thing up, full nuclear. I don't necessarily subscribe to this theory. However, there is somebody who's presenting some different, variations on the possible situations, and that's why I want to bring in my special guest today to talk about that. Yes, we're talking about Mr. right here to my side, Mr. Sky High Aviation. He's an admin on my Discord. So Sky High Aviation has been he's been bugging me for a while. He said, "Man, I got this concept, this idea. I want to present three possibilities of what the Seahawks can do in the offseason." And today he wants to present the idea of how to fix the Seahawks when it comes to a full rebuild. Right, Sky High?
Yeah. Essentially, it's a full rebuild. Hopefully you guys can hear me. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a quick, wild ride. I guess I'll go over the
we'll jump into that. We'll jump into that in a second. So real quick, just so people get to know you. A lot of people have seen you. Obviously, if you're on Discord, you've certainly seen Sky High before. Sky High has his own YouTube channel. He's going to be a future pilot someday. That's why he goes by Sky High Aviation. So look at this face, because one day he's going to have a captain hat. He's going to have a captain hat right over here, and he's going to be saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we just reached our cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. And if you look to the right, you have Mount Rainier, and on the left, you have Mount Hood, and we'll be in our destination. We're going to have a tailwind, and we'll be in there in about 25 minutes earlier. And just enjoy your flight. And thanks for joining us today on what airline are you going to be on? United, Delta? What's your dream airline?
Beats me. You just pick one.
Lufthansa Airlines. So anyway, so future pilot, go check out his YouTube channel. His link is in the description. Do you want to tell anybody else, the people out there, a little bit more about what you do and what your channel's about, besides what in my beautiful description of how I presented what you will be like in 20 years?
It was very beautiful, Norb. Thank you. Essentially, it's, airplane content. Most of the time when I travel, I'll have a camera with me. I'll stick it to the window and I will press record and I will edit the scenes out and essentially post a video and the takeoffs and the landings and all that. A lot of people find that interesting. So if you want to go watch that, check that out in the description. I've been a lazy bum when it's come to uploads. I uploaded 3 weeks straight at one point, and then now I've dropped off and I need to get back on.
Well, now that the season's over, you got nothing but time. So get back on it, man. We're a quick shout out to Chef Jack Attack in the super chat. He says, "What's good, NorbCam? What's up, Chef Jack Attack over in New York City?" Or are you're like in the Bronx or something? Somewhere over in New York, I know. But it's always good to hear from Chef Jack Attack. All right, so you've met Sky High. This is, I really don't know the full breakdown of this. I only know kind of the broad strokes. Again, as I said, I don't personally subscribe to the idea of a full rebuild, talking complete blow the whole thing up. But it is one of those possibilities because Jody Allen is meeting either today or tomorrow. May have met already. Maybe meets tomorrow with Pete Carroll and John Schneider to talk about the future of the Seahawks. I think things are pretty safe from a full nuclear holocaust. However, you never know until the final word's said. So with that, Sky High Aviation has put together a very sophisticated slideshow presentation to be presented by the man himself in this very high-tech environment where it looks like Sky High is sitting right next to me, right? I can put my arm around him, like play with his hair a little bit. The magic of technology. All right, so Sky High, seriously, I'm very curious to hear how it is. We are going to try to get this done in the next 45 minutes. I want to give you enough time to do it. So let's bring up the slideshow and just let's walk us through the scenario of a full rebuild for the 2022 Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. So if there's one thing I love talking about, it's going to be drama. So we're going to definitely have some drama, and I'm definitely going to make it seem kind of dramatic. So let's start. How to fix the Seahawks. Dun, dun, dun. Pathway 1, rebuild. So essentially, we're going to be rebuilding. So before we go over, I'm going to essentially go over some quick rules. Seahawks will either be highlighted in green or what is super hard to see, blue. Words fired, traded, or cut will be in red. Do not judge me if I have spelling errors or if I completely miss some part.
Don't apologize, man. Just go with it. We're forgiving that way.
I'm a kid. Come on. Key players will be highlighted, or headlines will be highlighted in white. That necessarily doesn't always go for always. It's just mostly to make it obvious that you can, so the viewer can read it. So without further ado,
next slide.
Let's get right into it. Yes.
All right, let's go.
Jody Allen goes extreme. All right. So this is the rebuild, right? So, she's like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out. So Pete Carroll gets the boot. John Schneider gets the boot. Multiple executives that work for the team that have, not necessarily built the team, but have also worked and built the culture, get the boot. Entire coaching staff gets the boot, except Larry Izzo, our special teams coach. So he's a genius. He's a candidate for the head coaching candidacy.
Why is Larry Izzo? Why is he isolated? I mean, some could argue that, Jason Myers finished well in the last couple of games, especially the last game was perfect. But there was a stretch there where Jason Myers struggled, lost a game, maybe two, depending how you look at it. But why is Larry Izzo why is he the only isolated guy in this whole group that you have here getting fired? Which I think he's one of the best, if you ask me, when it comes to special teams. And he necessarily, because it's special teams, doesn't have to be like a straight up, like, I know special teams is like a different, it's not necessarily you run a whole scheme on it, but there's different blocking schemes and all that are, essentially go with it. But he's easy to work with. I think he's really good at what he does. I think Jason Myers missing those kicks is just Jason Myers, having an off year. I mean, when you hit the top, there's nowhere to go but the bottom. And Cameron Hughes brings up a good point. One of the moderators in the channel says special teams is more than just field goal kicking. I realize that. There's the kickoff unit, the kick return unit, there's the punting unit, the punt return unit, there's the field goal unit, and ultimately when it comes to the field goals, it's just the kicker making a kick. Everything else could be perfect, but if he doesn't hit it, he's the last line of defense in the flow of things. Anyway, so continue on. Right. You want to elaborate more? Or are you ready to move on to the next? Oh no, you got a couple more points to make here.
Yeah. So the hunt begins. The Seahawks are all in on a rebuild. So this is going to be possible dark years coming up, depending on what the team does. And this is a talented team. So we're not going to essentially get rid of everyone, but a lot of core pieces are going to go because they either don't or not, fit what's going to happen with our next head coach, or is, it's just at that point where, we want to start fresh. We don't want these players and we don't want essentially a lot of the things left behind. So you are going to see some players that are going to be like, wait, normally in a rebuild, you'd normally shop these kind of guys. Well, we're keeping them because first of all, they're young, they're under contract for the next couple of years. And it wouldn't necessarily, in my mind, be worth creating a rebuild, especially when you have leaders on the defense and also to help build emergency leaders. So yeah, next slide.
Okay, and before I go to the next slide, I just want to remind everybody too that if you want to, you guys are chatting away, which is great. Keep chatting in there. If you want to actually be part of the conversation, we're going to take some calls at the end. Hopefully, if you have some time, you can do so by clicking on the phone number, which I'm going to put it up right here. It's right there, 202-926-1076. The code is 696153. It's also pinned in the chat. And if you join Discord, you can also, there's the link for Discord, discord.gg/Seahawks. You can also join the voice chat there, and we'll pull a few callers from there as well at the end if you have questions for Sky High or just want to air your own thoughts on this whole rebuild discussion. Okay. Oops.
All right.
There we go. Next slide. Let's do it.
So you think this is a beautiful picture of the VMAC during spring training? No,
I've been here. I was sitting right about
staff.
here. I was sitting right about here. Yeah,
just
Seahawks training
somewhere
camp
in there
from a drone.
It's hard to tell.
Yes. All right.
Clearly pre-pandemic.
So keep it clicking.
Let's add in. Let's see. Okay. So a lot of these names we're going to see are familiar. We're going to hire Ed Dodds. He works for the Colts, I believe. A lot of people, I understand a lot of people may not like this hire, Byron Leftwich, but I think it works for what we're going to be doing for the future. And I think I like what he does. I like the personnel that we have against him. He runs a good run game. He has a very good, screen game. A lot of the running backs out of the backfield. So that's where a lot of the Penny, the Carson that comes in. He's able to utilize his running backs to the best of the abilities. Seattle obviously has pretty good depth, if you ask me, at running back. A lot of the guys are pretty good. You have Dallas, Homer, Penny, and Carson, who hopefully is coming back healthy next year. Other staff include Mike McDaniel. Now, this is a question mark right here because Mike McDaniel is an offensive coordinator for the 49ers, and it's pretty hard to get somebody to go to the competitor, especially to take the same position because he's a head coaching candidate in a lot of people's minds, but he's going to stick to that assistant head coach. I think Mike McDaniel is able to bring some of that West Coast flair as well into the Byron Leftwich, Byron Leftwich coaching tree. And then Pete Golding. He is, a lot of people don't know this guy, but he is the defensive coordinator at Alabama. He is known to run that 4-3 defense that they have, to run and build those defensive linemen, which is going to be one of the keys when it comes forward to building this team, is building the defensive line and, getting the most out of the talent that they have. I think it's what's most important. And again, the team is intent on, also there's images of them if you want to press the little thing, Norb.
There we go.
That's Ed Dodds. That's Byron Leftwich. That's Mike McDaniel. And that's Pete Golding. Golding looks like he is in a high school portrait photo right there. Looks like he's like, hey, what's up?
Got quite the mop there.
This team is intent on rebuild and will shop the top stars, which I think are coming up next.
The reality is, if let's say you actually even got the general manager and or head coach right, most likely those coordinator positions would then be handpicked, of course, from those two individuals starting from the top. So they would have their own plans if you were to get any of these guys in there. But we're just speculating here, right? So, you're just playing. You're playing owner here. You're playing owner who has all control over all the positions. So, all right.
Yeah, I'm Jody Allen, guys.
Yes, you don't look like a Jody, but this is a different world. All right, you ready to move on?
I am ready to move on. Let's do that. All right, the golden age of Seahawks football comes to an end, right? We feel like the golden age. I feel like if you consider the golden age to be the 2010 era, I consider it actually to be from 2000 all the way up to this point. Even though we had a couple shaky seasons there was not. There were a lot of bright points in a lot of those seasons. So we're gonna have the first big move, and that's Russell Wilson getting traded to what a lot of people thought was going to happen a couple of years ago, the New York Giants. The New York Giants received Russell Wilson. And obviously, I think his price has declined a little bit. A lot of people are saying the asking price is a lot, but I think his price has actually gone down based on the injury, based on possible regression, even though the last game really didn't show that. But Seattle's going to get the 5th overall pick, the 2023 first-round pick, a 2022 second-round pick that will be used to eventually draft a quarterback, and a 2022 third-round pick. We'll get to the draft at that point. But Bobby Wagner is cut for cap reasons. That is a very likely opportunity to happen in all three actual pathways that we end up. That
so back. Hold on for a second. Let me look at this Russell Wilson thing. You're saying so Russell would be traded to the Giants, but then the Giants, you have Panthers receive. Am I confused there? Or did you typo?
I messed that up.
Okay, I was like, wait a second. How did the Panthers get involved in this? Okay, so did you mean to say you meant to say Giants, correct?
It was It was originally going to be the Panthers, but I.
Oh, okay. So now you realize the Giants. The Giants just had a major firing of.
Yeah.
Do you still think that Russell I know this isn't reality, this is speculation, but do you think Russell would actually entertain the idea of going to a team where if he wants to win and win now, a team that essentially is going to be going through their own rebuild, and they've been a trash organization for the last, how many seasons now?
I know they've been trash, but I would
you think Russell would want to go to? He's got a no trade clause, so he's going to have some say in what team he goes to. And we're talking next year because if he rides out his contract, he's still got 2 more years with the Seahawks.
Well, let me explain.
Why would he go to the Giants?
The Giants are an ideal trade destination for Seattle, and ignore the Panthers part because it was originally going to be the Panthers, and I was like, holy crap, this is not going to work out. This is going to be a complete idiotic move for the Seahawks to make. So the reason it's the Giants is because the Giants, they're a really talented team on the defensive side. And the offensive side, I think they have a lot of misused weapons. Joe Judge, in my opinion, is a terrible coach. He's had a terrible grip on the locker room. I mean, I mean, if you want to talk about Judge, there's been at least 2 or 3 instances where he has gotten in fights with the other coaches, where other coaches have gotten in fights with other players. So it really is a rotten culture. And if you get a guy like, if you get a guy like possibly, I don't know who the Giants have interviewed, but I'm going to throw some names out there, possibly Kellen Moore, who's I think is a really good fit for us. A guy like what's his name, Dan Quinn again. We've got a guy, Bill O'Brien. You've got other coaches that can essentially fix the culture that they've had there. Because the Giants are one of the most misused teams in NFL. I think they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of good players. But again, you're running with a terrible quarterback.
You're just mentioning, sorry to interrupt. I thought I'd look it up. So the Giants have interviewed the Chiefs exec Ryan Poles for their GM job. So they're talking to the Chiefs about potentially having the Chiefs' former exec as their GM.
General manager.
They're just a lot talking.
So I think it's just the Giants. A lot of people like the Giants are just awful. Well, they have Saquon Barkley, they have Kenny Golladay. They went out and spent money to go out there and put all these weapons out there. But when you have a big old Shrek as a quarterback and a big old Mr. Angry Yosemite Sam as a head coach, it's pretty awful. It's not a good mix. So I think the Giants can go out there and spend some money. They'll align this offseason. Their defense can continue to improve. It may be an ideal destination. Obviously, New York is a pretty good place for Russell Wilson.
The only thing that makes sense to me is the city destination would maybe align with what his, not just him, but his family or his wife's goals are. Maybe that makes a destination, because I do believe that was one of those lists.
Let's put it this way.
Could be in that list.
I were interviewed to go out and be the head coach for the Giants, I would be extremely interested in taking that job. And a lot of people are going to get mad at me for that, but I want to work with what they have there. I think they may have a good group there. They're just not coaching.
The timing just seems off here, because they're gonna have a head coach signed up before this trade with the Russell Wilson thing even happens. But I'll give you that.
So
let's move on to the Bobby Wagner thing. I want to keep this thing flowing along.
He's cut cap reasons. Adams and Metcalf will not be traded because we just signed Adams. But Lockett, sadly, will be traded because Lockett, unfortunately, is not part of the future plans. He's traded to Cleveland. I didn't put that in there, but he is traded for Cleveland to a 2nd and 3rd round pick.
You're going to trade. You're going to give up your best receiver.
Yes.
To Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. He's traded to Cleveland.
Why is he not part of the future? It's not like he's old and washed up. Why would Tyler Lockett not be part of the future? He's not an old man yet. He's got years to go yet.
I know he has years going, but it's a rebuild again, right? It's a rebuild, and Ed Dodds is not confident in what he wants Tyler Lockett to be. And obviously, this is a Byron Leftwich, and it's a schematic issue, and he would rather have Metcalf and have a different wide receiver than Lockett, because any person would know that trading Tyler Lockett is dumb and stupid, right? But in this case, Lockett at this point isn't necessarily needed by the organization. He's a great man. I hope he wins Walter Payton.
Everything about this page just gets my hairs to stand on end.
I know this makes you mad.
I'm obliging you on this. All right. So are we on to the next page now?
Yeah, it's next page. Hopefully this is better than the last one.
Offseason personnel
changes. This is kind of a basic gist of it. Bobby Wagner again cut for cap reasons. I think his salary is $60 million. It is $16 million. DJ Reed not re-signed. Okay, we're going to draft a couple cornerbacks in the draft. Tyler Lockett is. It says it's not traded, but he is traded. Okay, don't listen to that.
Those are the typos you're talking about.
Metcalf is also not traded.
He's contradicting himself in his own presentation. Okay, all right. Tyler Lockett is traded to Cleveland, as you said in your theory here. Jamal Adams is not traded. Okay. The Bobby Wagner thing is the one thing I actually see possibly happening here, which I'm not happy about, but unless they can figure out a way to work it. But you're right. In a rebuild, Bobby Wagner definitely would be one of the first to go.
I'm sure Nick LeBeau changed that. I'm sure he went into the sled show and went, Tyler Lockett's not traded because, he's...
All right, so Jamal Adams stays. All right, next slide.
Yeah, next slide. Let's move it. Re-signings. This is really hard to see, but it's an internal view of what we're going to do. These are all our free agents, or most of the free agents that we're going to be having into the off season. And these are the guys that are essentially X'd out are the guys that we're not going to.
All right, since they probably can't read that, I'll just bang through them real quick on here since you can't read them. So Dwayne Brown, these are the guys who are gone. Dwayne Brown, Quandre Diggs, Brandon Shell, Al Woods, Geno Smith, Alex Collins, Kyle Fuller, Rasheem Green, Bless Austin, Penny Hart, John Reed, Will Dissly, DJ Reed, Dakota Shepley, and Marcus Webb. Is that everybody?
Yeah, that's everybody. So everybody else is going to be returning to the team, including Gerald Everett, who I think, because we're in a rebuild phase, I think is going to get a much bigger contract. A lot of people expect this year, and based on reality, he's going to get, possibly another 1-year deal, possibly 2-year deal. But I think he gets maybe a 3 or 4 year deal. I think he's proven his worth in his time playing, even though the stats necessarily haven't shown up. He is a good tight end. He is a big tight end. He is the tight end that says, get out of my way. I'm going to hit you. Rashad Penny obviously is going to come back because he fits perfectly.
Wait, you skipped Ethan Posick. I see you have Ethan Posick here. Why would you keep Ethan Posick in a rebuild?
He is center depth because we're going to sign another center when it comes to the free agency signings.
And that can very well happen. Okay, Rashad Penny, you kind of have to. Sidney Jones, another cornerback depth. I think he's played well as of late. He's definitely much better than Bless Austin, or what's his real name, Blessuin or something. Mm-hmm. He is much better than John Reed, who is like a midget. And that means something coming from Sky High Aviation. If Sky High Aviation calls you midget, you're short. Okay, so Ryan Neal is sticking around. I like Ryan Neal.
Ryan Neal is a really good player. I think he's one of those he kind of reminds me of like a homegrown story, almost kind of the guy who's like thrown out there and he's all of a sudden succeeds and is like kind of does good. I think he did a pretty good job replacing Jamal Adams. He's not necessarily the best in running zone and man coverage, but he's a pretty good tackler. He'll get up in your face. I think he takes, possible competition with Marquise Blair out there in the secondary. So, but I think Blair, who has gotten through some tough injuries, he's really good, if you ask me. And I think he's going to be pretty good for us in the future.
Ryan, Kyle Wilson says in the chat, why would we let guys like Rasheem Green and DJ Reed go? Now, you got to remember, and I even have a hard time doing this, this is in the scenario where it's a complete rebuild, where they're completely gutting all the coaches. We haven't gotten to the big guys yet, obviously, we haven't talked about Russell Wilson. That's coming. So radical changes. So you have to kind of wrap your head around a very different scenario than what's going on at the moment. So keep that in mind.
So this is a rebuild. Remember this. If I had to pick out of the 3 pathways, which is rebuild, recoach, and retool, I would pick retool. I'm not a crazy delusional fan that thinks we should do all these things. Okay. I'm just trying to make it as realistic
all the
as
options
possible
and trying to see if it did actually happen. This is a route you can see happening. Okay. So Brian Monet, I think he comes back. Possibly Al Woods, but I think Al Woods maybe gets a pay raise next year. Jamarco Jones. We haven't seen much. Well, he's been kind of in and out. Jamarco Jones has been hurt. I thought he was a really good draft pick. I thought he could be a pretty good player. He's unfortunately gotten hurt. I think we bring him back on a 1-year deal, possibly a short 1-year deal. Maybe if depending on how he plays in the preseason, maybe he doesn't even make the roster is what we're looking at right now, because we've had a lot of patience working with him. I think he's pretty good when he plays at times. So it's one of those kind of, you got 3 games to prove it. And if you don't, you get the boot out of the and team. Finally on your list here, out of Army, the Army, where do you guys are from? West Point grad John Radigan. He injured his knee, didn't he? Didn't he knocked out of the season with a knee injury?
Yes.
Special teams guy.
But we'll bring him back for special teams. Yes, I like him on special teams.
All right.
But
okay.
Our best special teams players.
All right. Are we moving on?
Travis Homer. Yeah, we're moving on. External signings.
Okay.
I know we're not supposed to go out there and spend a bunch of money, but I think we should go out there and pay some money to Nate Solder. I know he's not necessarily worth $43 million, but I'm gonna go out there and put it out there. Tack McKinley, give us some extra rushing in the rush DJ Jones. He's also going to be another, I think, interior lineman. Zach Pascal, he's going to be kind of that replacement for Lockett, along with Adam Humphries. And then we're going to have Ted Karras compete with Ethan Posick for our new center job, but based on how much we're paying him, Ted Karras will be our new center.
Now, these guys realistically, are these guys all free agents next year? Or are you thinking that these could be trade scenarios?
No, these are free agents right here.
Yeah, these are realistic free agents who are on the market at come free agency time.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is that Chris Carson? That doesn't look like Chris Carson.
I put a picture of Chris
What's
Carson
because
you know
he got nothing to do with these guys.
He's Chris Carson, right?
We'll see where he fits in. I assume he might come into the conversation here at some point.
I'm pretty bad at creating rebuilds. I hope you know that. I'd much rather do the retool and the reading than stick with this.
All right.
You know,
are we moving on to the next slide?
The draft. Cameron, don't kill me. With the 5th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Seahawks select Ikem Ekwonu. He's an offensive tackle. He's going to go and play tackle.
Oh, that's right. This is because we got the fifth pick from the Russell Wilson trade.
Sadly, I believe Hutchinson and Thibodeau will be gone. And the 36th pick, I think he's going to drop. I'm hoping that the Panthers don't take him in the first round, but I think it's a possibility that Sam Howell could still be available, kind of like the Mac Jones situation. As soon as you get out of maybe the 10 range, there's not going to be many teams that are going to be surfing around for quarterback. Maybe the Steelers, but if we can get Sam Howell, I will be extremely happy.
I don't know much about Sam. What do you like about Sam Howell? I don't know much about Sam Howell. What do you like about him?
Sam Howell came from the University of North Carolina. He's he's kind of like, how do I compare him? He's a mini Josh Allen. I think, you know, he's got a big arm, which is, you know, Brian Leftwich offense. He's going to throw the ball down the field. He's kind of that elusive quarterback. He's no Tom Brady, which is what Brian Leftwich is currently working with. But he's definitely in the mix. For us, definitely.
Is this a guy, or do you see him being somebody's franchise quarterback at 36th overall? You're not usually finding your franchise quarterback that far down in the draft, are you?
Well,
it's not a great quarterback draft to begin with.
He's a pretty decent quarterback, but I think it could work out possibly because I'm hoping that the reason that I'm hoping he drafts down there is because a lot of other teams don't really like don't really fit their scheme in the offense. But I think he fits well. I think he is, he does what I've always been high on him as well. I think he's a really good, playmaker. I know Corral, a lot of people like Pickett and Corral. Pickett, again, is a possible option. Again, we could interchange things. But if I had to pick somebody other than Howell, it would likely be Kenny Pickett. Although a lot of people are going to think he's a bust. But, it is what it is. Other pieces include Quay Walker, Tyreek Smith, Mario Goodrich, cornerback out of Clemson, and Alec Pierce. So again, most of these
and I'm not familiar with these guys. Quay Walker, Tyreek Smith, Alec Pierce. Who are these guys? What positions are they?
Tyreek Smith is a defensive lineman from Ohio State.
Tackle?
Yeah.
Or edge rusher? Tackle?
He's a tackle.
Okay. Quay Walker is?
He's from Georgia, and he is an inside linebacker.
Okay.
And Mario Goodrich, cornerback out of Clemson. And Alec Pierce, I believe, is a wide receiver. So,
all right. So a lot of trenches, a lot of guys in the trenches here in trades and draft.
And I would like to point out what Cameron said. It's not a good QB class, but I'm going to give what we're taking with because I know we can sign a bridge QB, but I think we're essentially in a position if we get the QB that we want to, we're going to take it. So, yeah, while Russell Wilson's riding high in New York, we're drafting a new QB and kind of.
So the best way this would work is you do all this, and then we go like 2-15, and then we get a great quarterback in the next year's draft. Then maybe there's a chance we might look like a
maybe
winning team.
maybe there's a chance.
Get ready for another not so great season if this is the way it's looking. But then I'm not giving Sam Howell enough credit. But all right, are we moving on?
Yeah, we are moving on.
All right, let's go. Next year outlook.
Now, a projected record of 6-11, that's pretty decent. But again, we have some key pieces that, again, remained during the rebuild with the first-year QB and first-year coach. Seahawks are expected to be an average team. I am throwing Howell out there. I think Byron Leftwich is the kind of guy that's going to be out there, and he seems like, we're going to develop leaders quickly. We're going to put you out there. We're going to put you in the spotlight. Fan base has a slight dip in interest, sadly, because the Seahawks are rebuilding, and ticket sales and season ticket sales go down. The offensive strengths, deep shots, running back passing game, defensive strength, linebackers, and defensive linemen, which is exactly what our defensive coordinator is there to build on. So projected record, 6-11. That's not bad. It's one worse than we did, but we're going to end up doing worse than this record. And the reason this is
very optimistic.
So you're going to have, you have the peak, you have like the average, and then you have the lower one. The lower one is 2 wins. The average, which a lot of people expect, 4 to 5 wins. And then you have the peak, which is 6 wins, which is the max wins that I think we can get that year, which is completely out of playoff contention. It is a complete sign that the team is not still good enough to compete. And obviously we'll get another draft. Unless we traded that one to the Jets, we'd get another draft pick. So I think we're ready to move on.
All right. I was just going to add to that. Fan base has a slight dip in interest. From what I've seen already, it's going to be more than a slight dip. It's going to be a major bump down because I think there's a lot of fans who are quick to jump off the wagon from just what I saw looking around the stadium, the number of empty seats, the ticket demand. If it's this and it's a full blow up, man, I think it's going to be back to those days like the early 2000s when I remember I couldn't give my tickets away. I was like, please, will you please take my tickets? I hate them going to waste. Nah, I think I'm going to go fold laundry on Sunday. I've got better things to do.
And this was before CenturyLink or after?
Even at the time, this is around the before CenturyLink, or at that time it was Seahawks Stadium, before Seahawks Stadium. And even when it first opened, there was kind of buzz about the stadium, but we still weren't a good team. We still weren't a good team until 2003 when we made that first playoff appearance. So
that's kind of
in a while.
sad.
So,
but yeah, expect to see some empty seats in Lumen Field this year.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I hope it's not the case.
That means some of you will get some deals on tickets, that's for sure. All right, moving on to the next slide.
But I will say, whatever you do, you will always support the Seahawks. Isn't that right, Norb?
That's right.
You won't give your tickets away.
I'm not going to dip in my interest. Other people will, but
hopefully, after a 5-12 rebuild year, the Seahawks finish with these stats. There you go.
Wow, you got deep on this. Okay.
So I will say, hopefully, we're not ending up like the Giants and selling tickets for $4. I
was wondering about Chris Carson. You never mentioned Chris Carson. So Chris Carson obviously is back in this scenario of yours.
He is back. He's in this scenario. I think him and Penny are a pretty good tandem duo. Petty.
Wow, 983 yards for Chris Carson. He manages to stay healthy despite the neck issue. If he's getting 983 yards.
So I think with a bit of a new offensive line, it does well. Metcalf doesn't necessarily get 1,000-yard season. I think Everett blows up a bit more than people expect. I think he's used a lot more in a lot of the over middle seam routes instead of the bootlegs, which Russell Wilson would normally find him on. Jordan Brooks, I think he has another outstanding year. I think he finally makes the Pro Bowl this year. This year he will be one of our lone Pro Bowlers. I think Trey Brown takes a step in the right direction, not a whole yard in the right direction, but I think he does a bit better. Darrell Taylor, I think he takes a huge step in the right direction.
That's actually one that I agree with in this whole scenario. That one, I think you got right there. That's pretty good.
I think he is another Pro Bowler. 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He showed us what he can do this year. I think he's only going to get better, and he's going to end up, I think if John Schneider is not good at drafting along with Pete Carroll at times, I think they hit pretty hard on that one, and it was a good draft.
That was. You got to give credit where credit is due. Daryl Taylor was a good pickup.
89 tackles. He has a not mediocre, but a good season for a safety. Falls just short in Pro Bowl voting.
So you got
Sam Howell.
You got DK Metcalf, 830 yards. Yeah. I was just going to mention the DK Metcalf, 830 yards, 6 touchdowns. What was DK Metcalf's stats finishing up this year? What did he have? Do you guys know?
He finished short of 1,000.
I know he was short of 1,000. Was it over 800? Because he was close to 800 near the end there. I don't remember how many touchdowns. If anybody knows in the chat, I want to know how many yards and touchdowns did Metcalf have? How close you are to this? This feels very close to what he actually got. But I'm just curious if everyone. 967 to 12. Never mind. He blew that up. This is a major regression for DK if that's the case. 967. He was that close to 1,000 yards. All he needed was 33 yards. He would have had 1,000 yards, and he had 12 TDs. He got 3 of them. He got a fourth of his touchdowns in one game. Pretty good. Yeah. Sam Howell, 23 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Pretty close to what Russ had, I think, in his rookie year, which is 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
That would be actually quite outstanding.
Yeah, that's when he had the record for the most.
Being very optimistic. But okay, all right. We moving on?
Yeah, let's move on.
10 years. We're really later. Moving on. All of a sudden, it's 10 years. Wait a second. That means it would be 2032. 2032. Yeah. Man, so, I would be getting my AARP card by this point. I'll be talking like this. We're here with Sky High Aviation, and we're going to talk about my heart. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Back to it. 10 years later. What has happened?
10 years later, after the rebuild has begun, Seattle ends up winning 2 Super Bowls, but we do have 2 more losing seasons before we get back into the playoffs. Won 2 Super Bowls, 2026 under Brian Leftwich, back to back. I think
with which quarterback?
With Sam Howell.
With Sam Howell, they run with Sam Howell, and he's the guy for 10 years. And then what's this? What's this unexpected twist? Quarterback Russell Wilson returns to Seattle to finish his career.
That's that.
After Sam Howell gets 2 in a row, somehow Russell Wilson ends up back here to finish his career. What's that all about?
He wants a big contract and he doesn't get it. And we're stuck with the same situation with a good team, but Russell's like, hey man, I got 2 years left before I got to retire. I'm just going to come play for you guys. I don't care what's going to happen. Let's just do that.
This is crazy. I like that last part too. Lemon Field being Lane Paul G. Allen Memorial Field, and I think they should change Occidental Drive to Paul G. Allen Boulevard or something.
Occidental Drive sounds so lame, if you ask me. Occidental.
My buddy Mark Collins, who I sit with, and Save Our Seahawks, Mark Collins. He actually wants to start a petition. He wants to make start a movement to change the name of the street officially to Paul Allen before people forget. Before too much time goes by and people don't remember who Paul Allen was.
He's the petition man, the movement man.
He is. Oh, very interesting. That's probably one of those entertaining parts of your presentation here. But
just Russell Wilson.
The most entertaining part is when I go, my heart.
Russell's your everything.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on. I hope that's not. I think that may be the end.
Is that the end? Oh, that's the end. Okay, that's it. All right, let's go back to our split screen. Oh, yeah, that didn't take as long as I thought it would take.
Yeah,
okay.
Seattle will. I will line it out. Seattle will gradually improve, and like we always see, I don't think this is a failed rebuild like a lot of teams struggle with. I think this is just. I think it's it's pretty good. I think we eventually get better and better and better, and eventually things may turn out to be good for us, right? And Norb will go have another happy day with the Super Bowl and all that. And, everybody's mad at me for signing Nate Solder. Please come on, guys.
So this is the time when since we got a few minutes left, you got actually we're ahead of schedule. We got 15, 20 minutes or so. We're just going to entertain some comments from you guys. So again, the phone lines are open. 202-926-1076. Enter the code 696153 and you'll be put into the phone lines, or you can join the Discord and jump in there at the stream game day party.
Well, I will ask. I think this is a 3-part series, right? So we're gonna the next time we and Norb come back together, we'll be going over where we fire Pete and John and we get a new, management group, but we kind of keep the same guys that we're sticking with. And then the week after that, it will be a retool, which is my favorite, which is the preferred one, where we keep everybody and we try and fix this.
Well, I'm glad you have that, because that is really my default, where I've been saying all along. I think it's going to be
and 10 years later, the Mariners still will have not made the playoffs.
Oh, shut up, man. Okay, let's go to Sourdough Tours. The number and the names is Sourdough Tours from the 907. Sourdough Tours. Who's this? You there? Sourdough Tours. Oh, he's gone. And there's the music that tells me that they hung up.
Norb, are you alone in Stream Game Day Party?
I am. It's funny.
Why is nobody joining you? Tyler, where are you at? Come on, you gotta ask me some good questions here.
Anti-Stingley Horse. Let's go to Anti-Stingley Horse. Who is Anti-Stingley Horse?
He's a horsey.
Hello. So, I have some comments on your
one of our
draft choices. So, with your first round pick, you selected Ekwonu, and I really think that's not the correct decision there, because Ekwonu, he's a really raw guy. Like, he's definitely a mauler in the run game, which is what Pete would like, but he's not like.
Oh, you can't hear him? Oh, well, no. I can hear him. No wonder you had that blank look on your face.
I'm just hearing
I'm listening
you.
To all this. I'm listening to just go off, and you had no idea what he's talking about. Hold on a second. You were talking about the draft, so let me pull the draft screen up. I think I can pull that up.
Oh my goodness! So I just hear you. I just see you just looking off into the distance, like expecting him to say something, and you're just here like, I'm like, what's going on?
Bring up the draft screen. I want to do him. I want to do him justice here. So let me give me a second and get him able to talk to you here. So. I love when I have to do troubleshooting online. It's so much fun.
I love when two people know each other's real first names and still refer to each other as their YouTube names. Seahawks Sage.
All right, I'm getting the sound worked out here, so bear with me for a second. Oh, that's why. Okay, I need to change this to. Wait, no, that's correct. Discord, and why don't you hear him? Sky High Aviation.
Beats me. It's on you, Norb.
Let's see. All right, Discord's coming in. I know YouTube can hear him, but all right. Anti-Stingley Horse, say something again. Let me just see if I can hear you just fine.
Hello, Sky High.
Sky High, can you hear him yet?
If he's talking, no. Oh wait. Talk.
Hello, I'm here.
No.
Nope, can't hear him. Weird. That is so strange.
Let me just make my rock face.
Hang on. I might have to just translate for you.
If you smell what the rock is doing.
Yeah, I might have to translate. I'm going to just translate what he's saying. Well, that kind of sucks.
Go Patriots. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right. Now go ahead and say your stuff. I'll try to work this out as you're talking, but go ahead and air your grievances. It was about the draft. His draft.
All right, so we got Ekwonu here, and I've done my scouting on him, and he's a really raw guy overall. That's the overall consensus on him. He's, as I was saying, he's like a mauler in the run game. He finishes guys off. That's the best way to describe it. And but in the pass game, which is something we've really been struggling with like pass protection wise, he is like super raw. He has not got his footing down at all. And he loses to speed, he loses to power, and he just doesn't have pass protection down. So if you're drafting a young QB like Sam Howell, you want that blindside protection, which Ekwonu plays on. And I don't think having him play tackle on the blindside would work really. So I think you'd have to get a tackle who is more like technique-wise stronger and more towards pass protection as their strength. And I would benefit more.
Can you hear him now?
I hear him now. Norb, you worked your magic.
I worked my magic. All right. Well, there we go.
Do I have to say the whole thing again?
Nah, I think that's. He was just basically saying that Ekwonu is a really raw guy.
He is.
In a nutshell.
He is. on pass protection.
Pass protection,
right?
I think
he's
you guys
really
agree
raw
on
on
that.
pass protection, right? But I like him in run protection. He's
What-
really good. He's a
Hey,
really good person when it comes to run.
What's your overall feeling if you had to pick between the retool, the full reboot, or I guess what's the in between? It would be firing the coaches but keeping the core players, right? That was kind of the third option. What do you think? What option do you think or would you want to see happen?
I would probably want to see the. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would want to see the retool because with us having like a veteran QB, it's a lot easier to build put pieces around rather than start a rookie and then like everything. We definitely would. I think with a veteran QB and our veteran players just like staying there. I think it's a lot easier to build around.
Okay, well, he cut out there.
I know. I'm working on it. Did you hear some of that?
I did hear some of that. Again, the retool is coming. I will stream it with Norb. We will do it. It will be fun. It will be amazing. You will be, oh my gosh, this team is so much better now. Norb will be like, woohoo! Yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Yeah, woo, woo, woo. When I go to the Super Bowl. So yeah, that's coming. It's coming. But overall, this is what happens.
Hello there. I heard a commercial in the background. I think I got it worked out, by the way. So, all right. So I'm going to go to the next call. Thanks, anti-stinging
horse.
Now I
can't hear you, Norb.
You can't hear me now? You're kidding me.
What did you do, Norb?
How about now? Can you hear me now? How about now?
There you go.
All right. All these little things. Okay. Let me go to BJ. Let's go to BJ. BJ, you there?
Oh, what's up? Yeah, what's up?
Can you hear him? Sky High, can you hear him?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, Sky?
All right. What's your thoughts? What's thoughts on this presentation here?
I mean, there's a few things that I disagree with Sky, but I mean, it's overall pretty good. There's some potential there. There's really nothing I would change per se that would change what Sky High's prediction would be, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's well crafted by Sky.
But
I have to say that.
What option are you hoping will happen this year?
I hope we sign DJ Reed. I mean, he was the 9th ranked corner in the NFL, which I don't know why you wouldn't resign him, especially with not such a strong, cornerback room. But yeah,
I guess what I mean is, if a big picture, do you like the rebuild, full rebuild, bring everybody back, or that kind of in between where they fire coaches and keep the core players?
If anything, I think we might do a Patriots rebuild, a 1-year rebuild that isn't really a rebuild. And next season, we're back.
Well, the Patriots rebuild was a rebuild where the quarterback obviously moved, but they kept the coach.
Yeah.
So I guess, are you in favor of keeping Russell Wilson?
Well,
yes or no?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would let go Russell Wilson, because he's such a huge asset.
All right, so you want Russ back. What about Pete Carroll? Do you want Pete Carroll back, or do you think it's time for a change?
I think I'll just wait for him to retire. I don't think there's really no reason.
4 more years. He's going to be here a while if he's going to play down his contract.
I don't think he's going to be for 4 years. But
you don't think he'll take the time? Huh?
No, I think he's going to retire next year or after next year. But I think our next head coach, I think he has to be a little bit more innovative, like how he was when he was in the head coach or in the early days. Because right now we just haven't been able to create something new in which teams are like, whoa, what's this? Because they've been expecting the same old Seahawks for the last few years, and I think.
Well, BJ, thanks for the call, man. I it's funny, the thing that was new when Russell came out and Kaepernick came out was the read option. That was the new thing then. Because clearly the read option has kind of run its course, but I think it goes without saying. Clearly, watching these last 2 games is if you have a running game, the passing game will be there for Russell Wilson. And that is, whether you call it old school or whatever, not innovative, it is what's working. And Pete Carroll that's what he's all about. Let's go to
wait 1 second.
Yeah, I'll bring sourdough tours again here in a second. Yeah.
I will say, I don't support this, guys. I think I keep hearing people tell me, I support this. No, I don't like the repo. It suck. I just have to put it in there because it is what it is, right? It's a possible option.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think we made that point clear. You're not saying that's what's going to happen. You're just exploring all the options. And if you had to go this way, this is how you can see it playing out. All right, we got sourdough tours, take 2. Are you here? Sourdough tours. Okay, what's your name? Oh, you're in the Discord too. You're like on both lines. Okay, well, you got me here. So,
wait
John
a minute, what?
What'd you think?
What?
For like our own players that we have right now, I think we should keep. When you said we should get rid of Quandra Diggs and DJ Reed, I think we should keep them. Also, I think we should keep Russ and Pete Carroll. And that is my
obviously. I agree.
So you're with the bring the band back, like myself.
Everyone is.
Well, not everyone. I know plenty of people who are saying fire Pete, fire Pete, fire Pete.
Coach
and
Marsh.
There are a lot of trade Russ peoples out there too. So.
Coach Marsh.
That's one of them. Been predicting it for a year now. Alina Dawn, the super chat says, "Sorry, late for the live. I lost my godmother and aunt last night. Oh no." Day after her birthday, may she rest with the angels. Oh, Lena, sorry to hear that.
That's
wow.
Sad.
Wow. Condolences, Alina. Sorry for your loss. That sucks.
That's sad. That's really sad.
Wow. Hang in there. Sorry to hear the bad news. All right. Well, let's continue on. Let's go to it's Casey Sports Nerd, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa!
I think it's Casey Sports Nerd on the phone line.
What a return! You got to be joking.
Casey Sports Nerd, is that you?
Yeah, I'm not sure why Sky Aviation is so shocked, to be honest, though.
Oh my God!
Casey Sports Nerd, the Kansas City fan whose team started so crappy this year, and look at him. Almost got the top seed, but didn't quite do it. Had to yield to the Titans. But yeah, welcome to the show, man. What's your thoughts?
Sports Nerd.
Hey, Sky, I'm going to say this right now. It's a pretty impressive presentation you had there. I watched that entire thing, and the one question I did have, though, the one name I didn't recognize was Left Wish. That was the one name I didn't recognize throughout that entire thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Left Wish is the OC for the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
To me, he'll always be the running back for the Jaguars back in the day.
What is the I was gonna ask Sky, what were the is that like the main path you were thinking of? What were the other two paths? I wasn't exactly sure about what you were saying though early on.
There was one where the next one will be where we fire Pete and John and we keep the same core players and build around a new coach and a general manager. The other one is a retooling. So that's essentially where it's going to be. We have the actual, keep everybody. The one I'm in favor of and, not rebuild, but retool the team to become better.
All right, so Casey Sports Nerd, since you're one of the fans of one of the teams that are still alive in the playoffs, I got to ask you, how will the Chiefs finish in the 2021 playoffs? Where do you see the Chiefs landing when all is said and done?
So what I see as of right now, so what I'm hoping for is to at least make, hopefully, the championship week is what I'm hoping. I think the most likely way to get there is if we win on Sunday. What I think the best way for Saturday's results to go down is for the Raiders, sadly, and then because it's a division rival of mine, and then the Patriots to both win, and then that way we get the Raiders second round. I think that'd be an easier way to get there. But I think I'm hoping to get there. But if it is a tougher team divisional round.
Okay, let's assume you get past the divisional. Assume you get past the divisional. So, are you saying it's going to be Titans Chiefs in the AFC Championship?
Yeah, that's the most likely way I see.
And
That's
who
who I have right
wins?
now.
How confident are you in beating the Titans?
I think we have what it takes to beat them. The way it's going to decide how we're going to beat them is if our defense can keep up with Derrick Henry. He hasn't played all year. I think he will be better in these playoffs, and we'll see how much of an impact he'll make.
And who represents the NFC?
I got you. The NFC, the main team, I actually hate to say this to an NFC West. I have the Niners as my sleeper. I have them making it to the divisional, and I have them beating the Cowboys this week.
Yeah, Niners, baby.
Yeah.
What?
Wow, that's the last team I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Okay, well that would be a major. That would be a major shocker. They limped their way in there, man.
I just think that they're on. I have a little bit of momentum from that last game, and they're going to carry it into this week. That's what I think is the kind of momentum swinger into this week.
Nah, Jimmy G at the
But
helm.
I think,
Come on, man.
yeah.
Come on, man.
But I will say though, I do have I don't have the Bucks. I do have forget who I have.
Cowboys?
I know I have the Packers, but I forget
Green
who
Bay?
else I have there.
Green Bay seems to be obvious.
I have the Cowboys.
Green Bay is hard to pick against Green Bay. I think it's going to be Green Bay.
Yeah, but
Not that I want it
NFC
to be,
Championship, I think if I remember correctly, I have the Packers and I forget if I had the Rams or the Bucks. I want to say the Rams because I hate the Bucks, but I think, I definitely have the Packers coming out of the NFC either way.
All right, that's KC Sports Dirt. Thanks for the call, man. Let's keep things moving. Keep bouncing around the lines here. Let's go back to Discord. Let's go to Cameron Hughes, who's been active in the chat. He's always got an opinion or two. Cameron Hughes, let's
get shredded.
Let's get your take on this.
All right, so I just got a few things to say about your free agency. Nate Solder, I'm sorry, that's just a horrible signing. I'm sorry, that's the only thing I'll say is really bad. I'm gonna praise you for your next signing though. Zach Pascal is easily your best signing right there. He is like one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. He would be perfect. He'd be perfect for the system. One of the reasons Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the NFL is because Zach Pascal is like the best run blocking receiver behind Cooper Kupp. Like he's that good. There's a ton of film out there on it. Like he's known for being really good a run blocker. But yeah, and then I have a few opinions of my own. So I am with you guys. I would just retool. I don't want to rebuild with either Carroll or Wilson. I would be open to a rebuild if you got rid of both of them. Because I just don't think you have time with either of them to do a full rebuild because those typically take like 3 or 4 years. And I don't think either of them have that much time.
Unless you're lucky enough to get it to where you have a really bad record and that, like the Andrew Luck scenario with the Colts where they just sucked for luck in the perfect time where they went straight from Manning and right into Andrew Luck. It didn't work out long term, obviously, because he retired early. But at that time, there was no question that who the best quarterback was in the draft. At least they thought.
Yeah.
Because there's only one quarterback from that draft who's still playing, and his name is number 3, Russell Wilson. But you're right though. Because I mean, look at the Giants, man. Look at the Jets. I mean, these guys have been floundering trying to get quarterbacks. Denver, Chicago. List goes on, but yeah, I'm with you, man. So we got to get your take on the Super Bowl. What's the Super Bowl matchup this year?
It's hard. I think the NFL really wants the Rams doing it, but I'm not gonna go like deep into conspiracy theories. But I think the Chiefs are gonna make it back, and I think the Packers are gonna continue their trend of losing in the championship game, and I have the Rams making it, and I'd have the Chiefs. Like those are the two teams with the most like playoff experience. I don't know about Stafford though, but I think they can get really hot. And then the Chiefs, they have Super Bowl experience and lots of playoff experience, so I have them going back. So yeah, there's a lot of inexperience in this in the playoffs. So I'm going with the experience. And I got the Chiefs winning.
How about those Chiefs? All right, Cameron Hughes, thanks for the call, man. We're going to try to bang on a few more because I got a live stream Madden in 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to get everybody in
Tyler
here.
Parcher is jumping for joy because you just announced that.
Speaking of Tyler Parcher, let's see. Does Tyler Parcher have a comment? He just put my face on his icon in Discord.
Been chatting.
He's just hanging out. He's waiting for Madden. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have a question. Let's go to Prince Charming. Prince Charming, your take on this rebuild, retool thing that we got going on?
Fire Ken Norton.
Oh, okay. We haven't gotten to that yet.
Yes,
So,
yes, I agree.
just the
I
one.
agree.
Keep everybody else. Just fire Ken Norton.
Fire him.
We might have to get rid of Russ because it's the defense is just going to get worse. If we keep Russ, the defense will just get worse.
Because of all the money that's tied up in his salary?
Just build up the defense. And on Twitter, Cam Chancellor was like, me and Jody need to make some changes. Maybe he can come play defensive coordinator.
I've heard that before. I don't know if he's going to want to take that grind. That's a tough grind, man, to be those coordinators. But to have him as some kind of like secondary coach or something, now that would be kind of cool. But they've already got, guys who just started last year. What's his name? Who was the former Seahawks who's the secondary coach? Deshaun Shedd. Yeah. Those guys
Tukuafu's there, I think.
They're still figuring things out, And then who's the linebacker? The guy who was a bust of a linebacker for us, but he became one of our linebacker coaches. Gosh, what was this?
I know Tupu's there, but he ain't
super
a
high
bust.
draft pick. He looked like he was gonna be a badass, and he sucked terribly.
Who is
Shoot,
it?
I can't. I forgot
I'll
his name.
find it.
You guys remember?
I know we have
middle linebackers.
No, he was
Aaron
on the
Curry.
outside.
Aaron
Curry. Yes, thank you. He was one of the assistant coaches.
I was going to say Bosworth, but
that's another one. But I'm more recent. But no, I'm saying he was on the coaching staff this year. A lot of people don't know that. All right, Prince Charming, thanks for the call, man. Oh, whoa. Actually, I asked Prince Charming. So, who's your Super Bowl matchup this year?
Got to go with the Bucs again.
Oh, man, say it ain't so.
Oh yeah, but what I also want to say is, including firing the coaching staff, they're also firing the trash training staff. Whatever his name is Ivan Lewis. Absolutely terrible coach, head strength and conditioning. He used to work with Pete, I think, in USC, and ever since we got him, our injuries have been awful. I mean, he does not know how to take care of the guys at all. I'm sure Cameron can agree with me on this. He is terrible. Fire Ivan and his crew and get him out of here. They're terrible.
Yeah, I say Bucs, and I want to say Bengals so bad, but I don't know.
You know what I was really hoping for? I wanted the Chargers to make it. And the only reason I would even hope for the Rams would be funny to have the Rams and the Chargers hosting the same Super Bowl where they both play in the same stadium. I think that just would have been hilarious, but it ain't happening. So now I'm completely against the Rams winning this sucker. All right, thanks for the call, man. We got to rush through because we're almost out of time here. Let's go to Coach Mesh, who's been waiting for a while. Coach Mesh, what you got?
I pretty much disagree with everything that Sky High except for the ending. Can you bring the ending up?
The ending.
The 10 years.
Yeah, let me bring that up in a second here. Where is it? 10 years. There you go. 10 years later.
Okay, so here's my assumption for 10 years after the rebuild. I do agree with Seattle wins 2 Super Bowls. I don't know what that big number means. Sky High.
Oh, he's saying back-to-back Super Bowls in 2026 and 2027. I know it looks like 2,026,000.
Yeah.
No, it means in 2026, 2027 they go back-to-back Super Bowls.
Sorry.
Okay.
Under Sam
I agree
Howell.
with the 2 Super Bowls. I don't think Seattle would go back-to-back. I think one of them would be with Pete Carroll. And once Pete Carroll decides to retire after his contract, get Dan Quinn as our head coach. and we win a Super Bowl with him.
Oh, damn!
I like the sound of that.
Oh,
No
damn.
blowing to 23-8 or 23-28.
And then Russell Wilson. I think on Russell Wilson, I would have actually. I think he would have actually come 2 years prior, before. So, I think 2030 he would have come back.
Okay, so you're into he goes and he could potentially come back as well. Very interesting. All right,
I do agree with the Lemon Field is now named Paul G. Allen Memorial.
I like that.
Field.
That's probably my favorite part of your whole presentation. Okay, so Coach Besh, who do you got in the Super Bowl this year?
A match of Super Bowl 34, Titans Rams.
The greatest show on turf. That would be, well, that was a good game. That was the one where what's his name had tried to, it was at the 1 yard line and didn't quite get in.
And Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson. That was a great Super Bowl. All right, I don't like it, but it could happen. Definitely, Titans is going to be in the lead there, and Rams, if they could find a way to get to the NFC Championship level, could be. Wouldn't be completely unrealistic.
I found our new
All right,
head
Coach Besh, I know I'll be
coach.
talking to you when we do the live stream for the game, so thanks for calling in. I got time for one more before I got to pivot to this other game. So let me go to David Gribb, who's been waiting patiently in the phone lines. David.
Hey, well, Norb.
What's up? What you got? What's your thoughts, man?
Well,
nice
this is my thought about the rebuild. For starters, I think they should keep Pete, Les, John Snyder, and fire Ken Nolan.
Yeah, there we go.
That's my take on that. And then my prediction of the Super Bowl. Well, let's start with the division that's coming up. I'm take the Arizona Cardinals over the LA Rams. I take Oakland over. I got Las Vegas over the Keys. I take the Bills over Patriots. I take the next round. I take Tampa Bay over the Eagles. I take San Francisco over Dallas, and then move on to the next round.
Well, I got to fast forward. I'm about to cut you forward. I got to move you to the Super Bowl because I don't have time to do every scenario. So just give me your Super Bowl pick. Who's the NFC, the AFC representatives?
Green Bay.
And?
Green Bay and the Chiefs.
Green Bay and the Chiefs.
Winning.
Okay. All right. That's kind of what I sort of had picked as well. So, okay. All right. Well, we will find out in a few weeks here. Unfortunately, we're not part of that puzzle, but it would have been cool.
Aww.
All right, David. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right. Well, we got to wrap things up here, Sky
By the way,
High.
this is our future head coach. If you didn't know, this is
Looks a little
Jamie.
crazy. Looks a little nuts.
He's the guy who you give the ball to on the sideline after you score a touchdown.
All right, Sky High. Let's wrap this up. Oh,
Side
real quick.
Oh, I guess we got Eric in there. All right, I guess Eric wants to get a quick insight. Yeah, Eric, go quick.
Okay, I'll take 30 seconds.
All right.
So I'm gonna explain to you that Pete Carroll needs to be fired from head coach. Okay, I know you don't want to hear it, but Pete Carroll needs to be fired because the records, when you look at the past, have been so mediocre. When you look at our roster, we should have a Super Bowl team. We should have to the point of the Patriots almost when you look at our roster. So that's why I think we should fire Pete Carroll. Maybe bring John Schneider into the situation due to the fact of our draft picks being so bad. So, yeah,
I can sort of agree with that. I think the roster's been misused. Maybe I know there's definitely been some mishits on draft picks. Definitely, I'm resetting on both. I just definitely think there's been some issues and problems. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, on that downer of a note, let's put the wraps on this. So Sky High Aviation, my special guest. Check out his YouTube channel in the description. Just look up Sky High Aviation on YouTube. Sky High, I was going to say, you'll have one last closing argument, final words to say as we wrap up this first of 3 scenarios, which we will dive into during this off season. 2 of the other ones will come. What else you want to add to this before we wrap up?
Okay. our future head coach, Jamie. A couple other things. Possibly could be uploading future videos on my YouTube channel. Stay posted. 2 things that revolve the Discord. 1, if you're interested in joining the Discord, we have moderator applications that just opened today. So go sign up for those if you want to join the staff team and know what's up behind the scenes and know and see pictures of Nick LeBeau's girlfriend and see him and find out on his inside life and all that. Okay. So you guys can find out. Also, last thing, the Madden tournament coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled on that. I'm going to go ahead and read our little slogan that I came up. I posted it in the announcements channel. Nobody really seemed to, give 2 craps about it, but whatever. Whether you're here to avenge or defend, the past is history. The future is victory. The Madden Tournament of Champions with a new form is coming soon. And for that, I sign off.
With the opportunity, the winner will get to play me live on YouTube, like I'm going to do in just a couple minutes from now. I'm going to pick a random player on Madden, and I'm going to do a quick 1v1 in about 3 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Sign off from this video, and then hop over to the Madden one, which is starting in just a couple minutes here. Sky High Aviation, my special guest. Thank you, man, for sharing your thoughts. It was very intriguing. I don't like it, but it was very intriguing nonetheless.
Neither did I.
I look forward to the next version of what could potentially happen to the Seattle Seahawks in the offseason of the 2022 season. All right, Sky High Aviation. We'll talk to you guys later. Come check out my live stream on Madden coming up next. See you guys later. Go Hawks.